What's going on, everybody? Welcome into an all-new Pack-A-Day Happy Hour. I'm your host, Andy Herman. Thank you so much for being here. Got a couple things I need to address right away. Number one, I thought I was actually going to have to cancel this because I had to get a couple episodes in. I just uploaded those. So if you're a member, you have access to Saturdays and Sundays videos already, as well as a couple early ones from Ross Uglum. So those are up there already. I thought I was going to have to cancel because I didn't know if I was going to get them in on time. Got those done. However, I do have about a 3:40 exit today, so it's going to go a little bit quicker than usual. And it might go quicker than that because this bad boy right here has got about 3% battery left in it. So we might be a little bit rushed depending on when this mouse battery dies. So I'm going to do my best to get through as much as I possibly can. Hopefully we can get through the 40 minutes here and I'll get to as many questions as possible. I'm going to try to focus a little bit. Obviously, if you have any super chats, if you want to make sure you get your question in, make sure to hit those super chats and I'll get to those right away. And then I'm going to try to focus on member chats as much as possible. I might go through the first handful, although it looks like all of them are members anyway. But then we're going to probably get to that relatively quick here. All right, Ben, thank you so much for the chat to start us off today. Coming in at 6:51 a.m., making sure he gets his question in. I love that, Ben. Why does Peter think DJ Reed would have been a perfect Green Bay fit? Sometimes I don't understand why he thinks the way he does. Sorry if that's harsh, no offense. I love Peter. Peter and I definitely do not see eye to eye on everything. I just actually, one of the episodes I did is what Green Bay or what free agents Green Bay could have and or should have signed this offseason, like what they could have done better. I went over DJ Reed as an option. Obviously, I've discussed him in the past as well. I just don't think, knowing what we know about Green Bay and what they like for height, weight thresholds and things like that, I don't think he would have been a top target of theirs. I know there was some rumor and buzz out there that they were interested in DJ Reed. They might have been, probably at a cost. What was it, like 3 years, 48 million, I want to say, for DJ Reed? They definitely could have done that. They got 4 years, 48 for Hobbs. I don't think he was ever going to be super in play for them. He would have fit in this defense. He's tenacious. He's scrappy. He's feisty. He's a very Detroit Lions type player, by the way. He's fearless, but also there are some limitations in his game. He's 28 years old. He's not a younger cornerback anymore. If he's 2 inches taller, it wouldn't surprise me if Green Bay would have been sort of all in on him. But I don't see that as being the case. Peter sometimes has some sources, so maybe he heard from somebody that the Packers were legitimately interested in DJ Reed. Obviously not super ideal that he goes to a division foe. But to me, I never viewed DJ Reed as somebody that was a clear 1A Packers target in any real way. He could have fit the defense. He's a good player. He would have found a way to make it work no matter what. But I tend to agree with you, Ben. I don't necessarily see him as that sort of piece for Green Bay. And I definitely think Hobbs fits them just a little bit better. Would you rather have had Nate Hobbs at 12 mil he got, or Travarius Ward, Paulson Adebo, Byron Murphy, Carlton Davis at the 18 mil that they got? Great question, Parker. I break this down in great detail on Sunday for Sunday's episode. And again, you being a member, you can go and check that out right now. I will spoil this piece a little bit. There is one of those that I think I would have considered a little bit more. Travarius Ward for me was coming off, obviously, the down season, understandably so, because the tragedy in his life. Paulson Adebo, we kind of thought of as like, if he would have been in that 4-year, $48 million range, that's a really good deal. I would definitely sign up for that. But he went in that 18 million range, right? So I think I'm fine with not going in that direction. Byron Murphy was never on the market. And in fact, I think he got like 22 mil per year, if I remember correctly. Like he got a massive, massive contract from Minnesota. Let's see. What was it? 3 years, 54 million. All right. So I guess not quite as much as I thought. I thought it was reported as could be up to, 60 million or something like that, but still 3 years, 54. He got a big contract, was never available to Green Bay anyway. Carlton Davis is the one for me. I would have maybe looked at a little bit more. I get why they would maybe want to go with Hobbs because you get that extra year. So 4 years, at that cost at 48 million rather than 3 years at 48 million. I think Davis is a little bit better. I think Davis is a little bit better of an outside corner. Davis did not have the greatest year this past year, although he got put on an island a lot in Detroit. I have no issue really with Hobbs and what they did with the versatility, him playing outside, inside. There's a little bit of a projection there as to whether or not he can play outside full time, or even if they want him to do that. But I don't have an issue with them passing on Ward, Adebo, or Murphy at all. And again, Murphy, they didn't even have the opportunity to get. Davis is maybe the one I would have considered a little bit there, but can completely understand why maybe they went with Nate Hobbs instead of Carlton Davis in that situation. Would you rather? There's another one, Parker, that we're going to discuss on Sunday in great detail, but I will certainly listen to an argument for anyone that wanted Freeze over Banks. I think Banks fits Green Bay's offense better. They obviously gave a 5-year deal for Freeze. Freeze was a little bit less per year, but got a little bit more because he got that 5th year in total in the contract. I personally would probably go with Banks in that situation, but if you wanted to make the argument for Freeze, I'd understand it. Freeze was banged up last year, kind of a little bit of a 1-year wonder. So it's a good debate either way. Bummer that he ends up in Minnesota, but I think you could, sort of clarify or you just kind of count this one as a toss up, if you will. So I kind of put it in that category, would be fine with either one in the same vicinity. With Josh Myers somewhere, I read people thought he was tipping plays like a pitcher in baseball was tipping pitches. Does that happen with centers sometimes? Yeah, that's a possibility. I mean, it's not just centers. Anyone can tip plays. And sometimes like you'll see it very egregiously. Quarterbacks can tip plays with, how they're lining up. And if they're more likely in like a sort of a handoff, like you'll see sometimes quarterbacks will have like one foot in front of the other if it's more of a run play or a pass play. It doesn't always mean that. They could go play action off of that, and sometimes it's a little bit less of a tell, but you can find it with offensive linemen. You can find it with quarterbacks, running backs. Sometimes you'll see running backs' hands go a little bit up more if they're about to get a handoff. Like there are definitely tells out there. I am not aware of anything specific for Josh Myers. I have not caught anything myself on tape that would give anything away, but it is something that potentially could be out there. Green Bay just do something? Oh no, Justice just put out an article. With Dante Fowler off the board, there are 3 remaining free agent defensive ends with a better pressure rate than Lucas Van Ness on as many snaps. Za'Darius Smith, Preston Smith, and Von Miller. Whew. Interesting from Justice Mosqueda there. But no, not aware of any tells from Josh Myers. DeAndre Hopkins, I think, was a steal at $6 million. Seems better to me than what Cooper Kupp is going to get. Also, what about Keenan Allen? He's just 1 year removed from a Pro Bowl year. Maybe the Bears' fault. I'm not interested in any of these olds. I'll just put it that way. And I'm speaking as an old myself here. None of these, same with Amari Cooper, same with Cooper Kupp. Just think that you are in a better position at wide receiver to develop the guys that you have. If you're asking me, would I rather have like Hopkins or Dobbs running routes on the outside? Give me Dobbs. If you're asking me Kupp or Wicks or Reed on the inside, give me Wicks or Reed. If you're asking me Keenan Allen, give me Wicks or Reed on the inside. Allen's a slot guy. He's a big guy, but he's a slot guy. Older, doesn't have the dynamic playmaking ability. What you have to realize about the modern NFL, right? If you're a wide receiver, there's certain superpowers that can help you, right? Can you get open deep down the field? That is superpower number 1. If you can get those big explosive plays down the field, that is going to be extremely sought after. Vis-a-vis DK Metcalf, 5 years, $150 million, plus giving up a 2nd-round pick to get him. There's a premium on that type of playmaker. If you can give your quarterback a deep threat down the field, that is huge. Not only that, but open up things underneath because your safety's got to stay deeper. That is a huge value add. The next thing is, can you be a big-time route runner / separation type player? There's tons of value in that. You might not have the burning jets down the field, but if you know just how to simply get open, whether it's on, a 15-yard dig or whether it's on a deep cross or whatever it might be, because of your head fakes and your route running prowess and your releases off the line of scrimmage, Devontae Adams, if you can do that, there is a huge premium for that type of player. The next, and one of the ones that's super important right now in the NFL, is the run after the catch player. If you have run after the catch ability, meaning with all of these checkdowns that happen, all of these little bubble screens, all of these little short crossing, shallow crossing routes, if you've got the ability to take those 2-yard passes and make them into 20+ yard gains, there is a huge premium for those type of players. Once you no longer have one of those 3 things, you're basically kind of washed. Meaning, if you can't win down the field, you aren't a great route runner and can't get great separation, and you can't run after the catch, sorry, we're done here. And when you get to Keenan Allen, listen, good route runner, but in the intermediate / deeper, like 15, 20-yard routes, he's not that guy anymore. He's not a separation guy. He's not a run after the catch guy, and he's not a deep guy. Kupp is not a separation guy anymore. He's not a run after the catch guy. He's not a deep guy. DeAndre Hopkins, not a deep guy, not a separation guy, not a run after the catch guy. Like, you better be able to give me one of those 3 things at this stage of your career, wherever you're at. I don't care if you're a rookie or a 15-year vet. If you can still do one of those things, I have interest. If you cannot do one of those three things, I have no interest. And for me, Kupp, Keenan Allen, DeAndre Hopkins, any of these, Amari Cooper, any of these wide receivers that are left, they don't have any of those three things. I'd rather take a flyer on a Jalen Hyatt from New York. I know he's undersized, but guess what he might have? The speed to win deep. And if you can get him in a short play, he's got at least speed to kind of burn after the fact. I'm going to take a flyer on that before I'm going to take a flyer on this. You know what else I'm going to take a flyer on? I'm going to take a flyer on Dontavian Wicks because he's got the separation. Jaden Reed because he has the run after the catch ability. Like, I'm going to take a flyer on those things over some of, again, the quote unquote olds that are still available in free agency. So that's why those guys are still available. Again, you better have one of those three traits. If you don't, you're going to still be on the free agent market. With Eric Wilson gone, if you could spend $4 million on extra linebacker, who would you get? Would save us a draft pick, spend on corners like we did at safety last year. It's another one I'm giving a little bit of a spoiler away for tomorrow's episode. But there is a linebacker that I think actually does make some sense. And I talked about him as like a potential free agent signing for Green Bay. You've never heard of him because I've basically never heard of him, but I do think it makes some sense. He's kind of a next Eric Wilson kind of guy. Caleb Johnson, linebacker for the Jaguars, has been a 4-year player, 85.6 special teams grade by PFF. He's played almost 1,200 special team snaps in his career. Only 27 years old, was an 8.67 relative athletic score guy. He's your classic number 5'6" linebacker who is a special teams demon who can give you some depth at linebacker. Bring that guy in as your number 6, draft a guy on day 3 as your number 5, and prosper with Cooper and McDuffie and Quay as kind of your top 3, Hopper as your up and coming, and then your day 3 pick as your prospect that you're developing, and then in this case Caleb Johnson as sort of your new Eric Wilson, your special teams guy. That's what I would do if I were Green Bay in this situation. How does Covington, in your opinion, get Kenny Clark back on track? Year before he had double the pressures. When do you start your draft player analysis? Draft player analysis will start more in April. Talked about this a little bit in the members Q&A yesterday, but some people have this unquenchable appetite for draft stuff. Other people just want to talk Packers, and the draft is not so great. So what happened a couple of years ago is I started doing draft stuff around this time, deep dives into all these draft picks. And, for the first couple of weeks, people are interested in stuff like that. And then by the time the first week of April, second week of April, third week of April, like start coming around, everyone's like, oh my God, can the draft just get here already? So what I wanted to do and why we've done this the last couple of years is on both the Pack-A-Day audio channel and on the YouTube channel, we've got Ross Uglum doing the daily draft, giving you that have this unquenchable thirst or insatiable thirst for draft content. We're going to give you a draft prospect every single day that you can sink your teeth into. And Ross does a phenomenal job with that. In addition, on the audio podcast, Andrew Merteg and Kyle Fellows are doing an extra little draft piece going into the war room of each of these teams from pick 1 to 32. We've already, I think we're 12 picks in at this point, and going over what those teams are probably deciding on when they're on the clock. So there's a bunch of draft stuff out there. Once April comes along, I'll be going into some more draft stuff, and that'll give you, probably about 3 to 4 weeks of draft stuff for me. I'll sprinkle in some other non-draft stuff as well, but that's why I kind of do it that way. As far as Kenny, I think it's just going to be Covington really working with that defensive line as a whole to try to get the most out of those guys. I think Kenny being in the second year in the system is going to help. I think obviously same goes for Wyatt, Brooks, Wooden. I think what we forget, there is yet to be a single defensive lineman on this team that was brought in for Jeff Hafley's defense. All of the defensive linemen that are on this team are carryovers from the previous regime, from Joe Barry's defense. So I think a lot of these guys last year went through that 1-year learning curve. I think they put a ton of time, effort, and energy into improving all of their run defense, which worked. And I think now hopefully Covington can come in and get them rushing the passer a little bit better. And by the way, they still were 8th in sacks last year, which I think goes really unnoticed. Some of it was in bunches, Colts, Titans games specifically, but they still were 8th in sacks last year, which is at least noteworthy. But he's going to need to get all those guys playing a bit better than they did last year. Kipperoni, happy Friday, Andy. Thank you and the team for all your hard work. The daily report, simplified breakdowns, positive energy, and patience you have answering the same questions a lot is a gift. Go Pack Go. Kipperoni, I appreciate that. Box Boy, if every player was available and you could pick one of them up to help the current Packers roster, who would it be? I don't know. I mean, I love Jordan to death, but I'm still probably taking a premium quarterback, right? Like give me Josh Allen or still Patrick Mahomes at this point. Like that position is just so valuable, right? So I still love Jordan. I think he's going to be a really good quarterback, but I'd probably just take Josh Allen at this point. That would probably be my guess. I think he fits in Green Bay very well. Maybe some interceptions that you need to clean up a little bit. Maybe just take Mahomes. But I'd probably just take one of those premier quarterbacks. So whoever your favorite premier quarterback is, take that guy. That's what I would do. Are the daily drafts meant to be shorter? They seemed really rushed, and like Ross is just trying to get them done as fast as possible. I don't know. Maybe I'm just spoiled by your videos and breakdowns. They are meant to be a little bit shorter. He has carte blanche to make them kind of as long as he wants, but they're meant to be like little, like 8-minute snippets of, all right, I just need a little morsel of a draft breakdown, not probably like a 30 to 40 minute one every single day. So obviously that would get a lot for Ross to do as well. But it was the intention was to make it somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes, focusing kind of on that 8 to 10 minute mark of just, again, a very sizable portion that you could get. And it also changes up the style of content that we have, right? So if you want a long form video, you're going to get it from me. If you want a shorter form, like just a little digestible piece, maybe you don't have time for a 40-minute episode. Oh, I've got Ross's daily draft out there I can go listen to. So it's supposed to be a little bit of a change up in that regard as well. Can you think of any player comps for Aaron Banks and Nate Hobbs? I need to watch a little bit more Nate Hobbs. I just did the breakdown of Aaron Banks. Trying to think if I have a great comp for him. Off the top of my head, I don't. Trying to think of trying to think of a more agile big guy that's played in the league. Like Mike Ayupati comes to mind, but I don't think they're exact total similar type players, especially not in the way that they play. Let's see this. Let me see if I go through some of these guards, if anyone kind of comes to mind. Yeah, I think there's a little bit of Quinn Miners there. I think there's a little bit of Chris Lindstrom there. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Like Miners has got to be in that 320 range. He's 6'3" only though. Lindstrom is 307. Like, yeah, a little bit of Quinn Miners comes to kind of mind a little bit when I watch him. But I think that's kind of the thing. He's a unique player. If you had to go like a former Packer, I think there's a little Josh Sitton there. I think there's a little bit of Josh Sitton. I think you'll see that. It's not complete apples to apples, but I think there's a little Josh Sitton when you watch him play. It is a beautiful Friday, Andy. Just wait until Tuesday for Aaron to announce on Pat McAfee that he'll be joining the Vikings. NFL wants the ratings. We should all want it. Be good for football. That's certainly the case. It would absolutely be good for football. Packer fans may vary on what they think, if that would be a good idea or not with Aaron going to Minnesota, or if they'd want to see that, but certainly would make for some must-see television. That's for sure. Aaron's going to play the Packers, the good Lions he helped create by choking in the last game as a Packer, the Bears and Cowboys this season. Those are 3 to 5 primetime matchups the NFL will love. No question about it. Do you see Banks as only an interior guy, or do you think he has some versatility with his special movement skills? Yeah, definitely check out the deep dive today, but definitely think he's a guard only. I mean, could you use him in like an unbelievable pinch to maybe move outside or inside? Sure, but I think he's a guard through and through. Dante Fowler to the Cowboys, 1 year, $8 million. Westbrook Akine, 265, or MVS 165. Seems like Goody is napping. These are some great deals for players who could help. I'm not a big Fowler guy. I was kind of happy when I saw that come through, to be honest. Westbrook Akine is fine. They have Westbrook Akine's. Like Westbrook Akine's not that different than even like a Malik Heath at this point. I liked Westbrook Akine, but he's not really going to move the needle. Any of those three guys that you just mentioned, right? Maybe MVS adds that speed element a little bit, which is a little bit different. I don't think a single one of those guys changes the win totals for Green Bay this year. Like if you're saying Green Bay's a 11-6 team with all three of those guys, if you added all three of them right now, I think they're probably still 11-6 team. Like I don't think it moves the needle all that much. I think you can find guys like that. I would rather probably take younger players, put them in those same roles and try to develop them rather than go and get them. And that's, again, even somebody that was for signing MVS, for signing Westbrook Akine. I like those guys, but I talk about it a lot. Like this is a league of haves and have-nots. When you get to kind of this stage, you're almost better just taking a 3rd or 4th round, 5th round draft pick and throwing them in there and seeing if you can develop that, rather than throwing one of these guys that's just a middling NFL player into one of these spots. And especially when you have to add in a contract on top of it, that's going to be more than the rookie that you're going to pay. If they're not going to be a real difference maker for you, a lot of times you're better just taking a developmental player, even in whether it's a late round pick, undrafted guy, and kind of going with those and seeing if you can develop those. Because you already know what Fowler is, you know what Westbrook Akine is, you know what MVS is. There's nothing special there. They're going to be replacement level players for the most part. And again, you can find those for the cheap in the draft. And Goody does a good job finding good players in the draft. It's just he struggled a little bit more finding the upper echelon talent. Paulie allowed 1 sack this year without Trent Williams most of the season on a bad team, 0 in 2023 and 1 in 2022. We're going to accept the fact that that is what players cost now. I think there's a piece of that. He got lucky with sacks. He gave up a lot more pressures than that. If you look at like a normal sack to pressure ratio, he definitely should have given up more sacks, but it doesn't go unnoticed either. His pass block win rate was the same this past year as Zach Tom, which is noteworthy. And I think he's a good player. There's no question about it. He's a good player to even maybe a very good player. I think it's a little bit of an overpay, but to your point, Mike, I think we're going to have to get used to these contracts a little bit more. DT, edge, corner, and wide receiver seem to be the needs, and I don't think the current roster has holes. Where do you think the Packers' priority for day 1 to 2 picks will be, assuming the board isn't completely weird? I think all the ones that you just mentioned. I think they could take a wide receiver, corner, edge, or defensive tackle. I think they'll go BPA for the most part, but with a strong emphasis on DT, edge, corner, wide receiver. And I still think if the right offensive linemen presented themselves, they'd be open to that as well. Don't think we're going to see quarterback early, no running back, no tight end, no off-ball linebacker, no safety. I think anything else is kind of up for grabs, quite frankly. John, I enjoyed the Banks breakdown today. Sounds like we'll see a lot more duo and pin pull. I think he'll be very good next to Elton. Agree on both of those things, John. Sounds like Banks is a solid player, but still a ball of clay. I wonder if the 49ers crazy diverse offense kept him from focusing on fundamentals a bit. No, I don't think so. He was in a great position there in San Fran. Good team, really smart offense. And next to Trent Williams, I think he came from a great situation and now hopefully is going to go in another really good situation in Green Bay. Texans should have signed Banks. Their O-line was terrible last year and they didn't do much to improve. They'll have a lot of the same problems. Here's the thing, John. There's a really good chance they tried to. I can promise you Green Bay was not battling against themselves to sign Aaron Banks to a 4-year, $77 million deal. I can pretty much guarantee you that. So there were teams that were competing for his services, no question. And it easily could have been the case that the Texans were in that conversation. And it's why Green Bay had to go $477 for Banks, is because there probably was quite a bit of competitions for his services. Armchair Packer, I know Ross does mock draft Monday, but if you find some quick time, you should 1000% do a mock draft Monday. I'll do mock drafts. I'll probably do 2 before the start of the draft for sure. So that'll definitely happen at some point. Sucks that both Chase Young and Fowler are gone. There's really no one left outside of Bryce Huff. Is he worth it? What would a contract look like? Yeah, I mean, it depends on if you trade for him or if you just kind of pick him up in free agency. My guess is they won't go after Huff. He's not their type. He's a little bit bigger than I thought, but he's a pass rusher only. I'd be fine with it. I just don't see it. I think this is probably a position they upgrade via the draft, keep their same guys that they have now. And then again, the only thing out there left is Hendrickson, and I don't see them going in that direction either. Every year, Robert Mays does an intro to the draft episode with Dane Brugler where he gets up to speed. You should do something like that with Ross. I'm too egotistical. I need to get up to speed on my own, and I will. I have a lot of time coming up to dive deep into the draft, and I have some really cool things and tools at my disposal that will allow me to do that. I've done a little bit so far. And like I said, I'll be diving head first, probably as soon as this weekend. We kind of know Green Bay's free agents now. There's no real other free agents I want to go out there and watch. And that means my time will be dedicated to watching draft prospects pretty much in any spare minute that I have over the next month and a half. So it'll get very up to speed very, very quick. Will, how urgently do you think Goot wants to or should add competition to the back of the roster? I like guys like Brooks, Heath, Cox, etc. But would you add 1 to 2 guys to fight? They should, they will, and it's all going to come via the draft. He'll end up with 8 to 10 draft picks. Those will fill out some of those competition spots in the back of the roster. Probably 1 to 2, kind of value free agent signings would be my guess, which will be included in that as well. And you'll see a lot of competition all throughout the roster, which is exactly what you want. Interesting. Michael Hoyt and Larry Ogunjobi both signed this week, have been suspended by the league for violating NFL's PED policy. So good news. No Green Bay Packers suspended for PEDs. It's always a great sign. But yeah, interesting on that. Michael Hoyt and Larry Ogunjobi. I think they both were signed to the Bills too. Tom, Oh, I went to a non-member. That's okay. Well, you get a rare non-member chat today, Tom. Saw the Eagles are talking about trading Bryce Huff. What would you think of him for our pass rush? Yeah, we just kind of went through that a little bit. So sorry about that. What's good, Andy? Sure feels like Brian Gutekunst is going to 2024 cornerback room with a 2025 pass rush. What are the realistic options Green Bay would have after getting meshed to death by Jared Goff in week 4? So meaning just kind of stay status quo in 2025. What are the realistic options Green Bay would have after getting meshed to death by Jared Goff in week 4? I guess, RJ, I'm not totally understanding your question. Are you talking from a cornerback standpoint or a pass rush standpoint? They'll be better. I think adding, obviously, Nate Huff, Nate Hobbs. Oh, too many names. Not Bryce Huff, Nate Hobbs to this room will help their secondary. Still don't know what's going to go on with Jair. I think their secondary is going to be in a better spot. And we all know that their pass rush needs to play better. So that's going to be on Covington, and we'll see if they can upgrade that defensive line, whether it be at defensive tackle or defensive end via the draft, and get a little bit more juice in that room. I feel like this team only needs one wide receiver, edge, defensive lineman, and then like 1 to 2 O-line in a corner. But I know Goot loves his picks. Maybe he feels like it's more worth it to draft 2 edges for example and make Cox and Igbari compete. He's going to take best player available with all those positions. It's still a lot to need, right? He'll probably add 2 wide receivers to some extent. I bet he adds at least 1 edge rusher, probably in the top 100 of the draft. I think he adds 2 defensive linemen. I think he adds 2 offensive linemen, either via value free agents or via the draft. And I think he probably adds 2 corners via value free agents or the draft. So there's still going to be some additions to this team, clearly via the draft, and I think a couple value free agent signings, and there'll be a lot of competition come training camp time. Okay. Hebez Sheboygan. Are you from Sheboygan or from Virginia? Is there a Sheboygan in Virginia, or is just Sheboygan the last name? That's a great last name if your last name is Sheboygan. I posted earlier because I wasn't sure if I was going to be back in time for the start. Sometimes I even disagree with some of Nags' takes on players. You're going to disagree with some of my takes on players. You're going to disagree with Nagler sometimes. You're going to disagree with Bukowski at times. You're going to disagree. We're not all going to see eye to eye. That's what makes a lot of this fun. It's the water cooler conversation. It's not seeing eye to eye. It's getting different perspectives on it, and then sort of trying to figure out when things happen, why Green Bay did what they did. That's the cool part. So Ben, I'm sure we don't see eye to eye in a lot. I'm sure there's times you're probably going in and posting in Bukowski or Nagler's chats being like, what the hell is Andy talking about? What's that dumbass talking about today? Like, that's going to happen. We're not always going to see eye to eye on stuff. So I'm sure that happens with just about everyone. If we all saw eye to eye on all of it, it wouldn't be very fun to talk about this stuff, right? You would come in every day and be like, oh yeah, well, obviously, Andy, we all knew that already. So I think sometimes those differences of opinion are good things, not anything different. Let's see. Daryl, that was in relation to my first question. Yeah, I got you, Ben. I knew what you meant. Seems to me Green Bay may have lost on some free agents because some free agents may not have wanted to come to Green Bay. Tough to say. Chili Cheese, I'm sorry you're not I'm trying to go members only today, but if you have a name like Chili Cheese, I'm going to answer your question and prioritize it every single time. With Hafley getting head coach interviews and possibly leaving for one soon, do you think DeMarcus Covington was brought in to possibly fill that role? I don't think so. I think they went with the best defensive line coach that they could get. I think it's great to have coaches on staff who have previous defensive coordinator experience. I don't think he's being groomed to be the next defensive coordinator. I think he would be a possibility, would get an interview in Green Bay. But once, if that position did become available or does become available, I think they would search high and wide to get the best defensive coordinator, not just somebody that's necessarily on Matt's staff. If it works out that way and they interview Covington and he is the best available, great. But I think they would do a pretty wide search to find that next guy and not just go with somebody that's already on the team per se. Trey Hendrickson is Ben. You still want Trey? I totally agree with that. I'm all on board. Yeah. So again, he's not apples to apples. You're going to see some bully ball from Banks. Like, he has some of that in his disposal for sure. I'm talking more of like the body type and movement ability is what I'm talking about. So like I said, not perfect apples to apples, but you're going to see a little Josh Sitton when you watch Aaron Banks. Sick part of me kind of wants to see Rodgers in purple. I know I need to get help, but goddamn, the circus would be beautiful. And the parallels with Favre, wow. So I just have a gut feeling it's going to happen. Just have a weird gut feeling. All right. I don't know. I'd be okay without taking a running back. I know you need bodies, but I really like the 4 right now. So yeah, I think they don't need to take a running back. I just think this is a very strong running back draft. And if you get to the 5th, 6th, 7th round and the best player on your board is clearly a running back, take it and figure out the rest later. I mean, what you don't want to do is pass on somebody that is going to become a great running back in the league because it's like, well, we've got Chris Brooks. Well, that's great. But what if the running back that you take in the 5th round becomes a Pro Bowler, like a really great running back? Now you just passed on that guy because you have Chris Brooks and Eric Wilson. Let those guys compete in camp. And if you end up with a surplus of running backs, you end up with a surplus of running backs. But don't pass on a super talented player, especially on day 3 when you're just trying to find anyone that's going to make the team. Don't pass on that because you have, Chris Brooks and Eric Wilson, or Emmanuel Wilson. So, I just think it's a deep running back draft, and there could be times in the 5th, 6th, 7th round where they're looking at their board and BPA is actually running back. And if so, take it and then figure out the rest later. Let's see. Chili over Fritos, cinnamon rolls, or pasta. Cinnamon rolls. Chili over cinnamon rolls? You guys think I have food take issues? Fritos is fine. Pasta is great. Cinnamon rolls? I don't know. Dude, 9210, thanks so much for becoming a brand new member. Appreciate that a ton. Any love for Cup at the right price? Not really. We talked about this at the beginning. Got to do 3 things. Either be a great separator, a great run after the catch guy, or a great deep threat. If you can't do one of those 3 things, I'm not really interested. To me, Cooper Kupp does not have any of those things anymore. He's not a run after the catch guy. He's a good route runner, but he can't separate, and he's not a deep guy. To me, just doesn't do anything for me anymore. Would you trade our 2nd and 3rd or 2nd and 4th to Minnesota for their 1st? Helps both teams in a way. Green Bay gets higher talent than Minnesota replenishes picks. I mean, I would have no issue doing a trade with Minnesota. A 2nd and a 3rd, probably. I'd have to look where Minnesota's picking. That's probably not anywhere near enough. A 2nd and a 4th is certainly not enough for their 1st. A 2nd and 3rd is probably not either. But if you would ask me right now, if a 2nd and 3rd, would I give that up for Minnesota's 1st? Yeah, absolutely. You're getting a really good value on that. Cinnamon rolls with chili is an Iowa thing. What's wrong with you people? I don't know. I'd try it, I guess. I don't think it sounds good, but I like cinnamon rolls. I like chili. I don't know. It seemed weird. Just bring Darnell Mooney to Green Bay. Love that take, Andy. I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, I know a lot of people are against it. I think a lot of you are missing out on just how good Darnell Mooney was this past year. But doesn't really matter anyway. Because what's Michael Penix's superpower? Throwing deep. Why are you getting rid of one of the best deep ball wide receivers who's on a really friendly contract? It just doesn't make sense, right? I don't think Atlanta's in the mindset of like they're a rebuilding team and need to go and get rid of any veteran for young players. Don't think that's what they're looking at. So I just don't see them having any real interest in trading Mooney. And Mooney, from a blocking standpoint, size standpoint, isn't necessarily exactly what Green Bay looks for anyway. All right. I know I kind of went through Gnome Fighter. Good to see you, my friend. It's been a hot second. Draft Jack Beck. I have not watched him yet, but I'm very excited to watch Jack Beck. Heebs. Hey, everyone. Please remember the 10 years free agency period would be nothing. Those were some interesting times. What do you think a Quay extension could look like? I wish we could have seen healthy Quay alongside Cooper. I think you're looking at the Chiefs linebacker. Why is his name escaping me? God, that's going to freaking bother me. It's not Nick Bolton, is it? Is it Nick Bolton? Nick Bolton, yeah. All right. Had it right. Just couldn't quite get there. So Nick Bolton, what did he get? It was like 15 mil per year. Quay, I think, is better than Nick Bolton, by the way, and I'm not even a huge Quay guy. I think it's been reported as a 3-year, $45 million contract, so 15 mil per year. I think that's probably what you're looking at for Quay. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. A likely day 3 wide receiver to keep an eye on is Dante Thornton from Tennessee, 6'4" with the 4.3 40-yard dash. We'll be curious to see if he can turn out in the NFL. Should I throw on? I can't throw it on in here, but could look at some Dante Thornton really quick. Just to give you my initial thoughts on him. I like doing this from time to time. Got to change to college. DONT''E. That's a lot of Dantes. Holy cow. Dante Thornton Jr. from Tennessee. Turning off the ring light so I can see here for a second. All right, it's 31 key plays from Thornton this past year. Let's see what we got. I'm going to give you my gut reaction in real time. Wait, what number is he? He is number 1. All right, so first play. Ooh. He's got some size and speed to him. Who does he remind me of? He is very tall and fast. He's a different type of player. What is his draft projection? I mean, just very first clip. He's a day 3. There's no way he goes day 3, right? Just initial glance, deep speed, like not a stiff route runner. Good hands on that over the shoulder. They're afraid of him, so he runs a nice little slant, easy touchdown, hands catch. I can tell you right now, I have no idea. This is the first time I'm watching him. I have no idea what his projection is. He's going day 2. I will bet you right now he goes day 2. And if he gets past round 4, unless there's like a medical or off field that I don't know about, anything's possible or whatever. There's far too much talent in this dude, and you cannot find these guys. We just moved him in the slot, just straight runs past, just straight gas. Woo! He's a fun player. What are we doing here? I mean, we're talking off coverage, just runs a deep slant and just runs away from everyone. Man, sign me the hell up. I'm all in right now. I am all in right now. What is his height, weight? He looks big. 6'5". Oh, you said it right. 6'5", 214. Man. Well, he only had 26 catches though. So production's an issue, but 25.4 yards per catch. Why was he not in more? Why was he not thrown to more? Now I'm very curious. What is this? Look at this ad lib play. Little comeback route. Sees that the play's breaking down. Cuts back upfield. Nice hands catch. Breaks a tackle. Yeah, I don't even need to see more. Sign me up. He's a day 2 guy. Day 2 guy. He was for sure day 3 until the combine, but is rising, ranked 19th for wide receiver. Not much production. So Dennis, you beat me to it. Very limited production. I think I've seen 7th round projection. Not a great vert jump either, but he's still intriguing to me. Haven't looked at him a ton though. He looks awesome. He looks really, really fun. I bet he goes sooner than that. Like, I don't think he gets, maybe day 2 is slightly aggressive. I bet he doesn't get out of round 4. Again, I saw 8 plays of him. So give me some accident forgiveness if maybe there's some other stuff on tape that is less flattering, or again, there might be an off-field thing. There might be a whatever. And again, I do need to look into the production. Production usually matters. Started at Oregon as well. NFL has him as ranked 156 and PFF 196. I want to see his RAS. The RAS site has been taking forever lately. It's pissing me off. Thank you, Matt. Thank you. That's, I was trying to think of who he reminded me of, and that is 1,000,000%. I think Martavius was a little bit more agile and skilled as a route runner, but there's absolutely some Martavis Bryant there. Who was I looking at? Thornton. 9.84 relative athletic score. So a little Green Bay type there. This RAS site's going to kill me. 995, 4340, 37% vert. So that sucks. 87th percentile broad jump, though, which shows the explosion is still there. 6'4" and a half, 205. I'm in. Sign me the hell up. What you said he played at Oregon before? Give me 1 second. I'm going to see what do we got in 2023. So he's still at Tennessee in 2023. Oregon in 2022. Or was he at? Oh, crap. Sorry. This is probably crappy for everyone, but my apologies. So 2023 was still in Tennessee. 2022 in Oregon. Just looking at him really quick here at Oregon. 2022. Why did he go from Oregon to Tennessee? Anyone know? He looked so much more raw at Oregon. Holy cow. Just a lot of crossing plays and letting him use his speed. A little blocking play there. Just gonna see if I can see a couple more here. A little comeback route there. Oregon. Ooh, a little slippage. Not great. Breaks a tackle, though. Dude's talented. Dude is freaking talented. I'm in. I'm going to have to get out of here in just a second here. Who you got in March Madness? I know nothing about college ball. I don't know yet. I'll have to look at it. I do think those top SEC teams, Auburn and was it Tennessee as well? I do think some of those top SEC teams are very, very good. Love the NFL, but I think next weekend, the opening weekend of March Madness might be my favorite weekend of all. It's a phenomenal weekend. No question about it. I'll tell you a guy I'm interested in to see if he makes any noise during the camp preseason is Cornelius Johnson. As a Michigan fan, I'm a bit biased, but he has a lot of good skills for his size. I'll keep an eye on him, Kyle. What else does Andy like to do besides sports related stuff? Just family stuff. And specifically, it's still sports related, but like this weekend, my son has a basketball tournament tomorrow morning and then a soccer tournament on Sunday morning. So there's nothing I would rather be doing than watching my kids play sports. Like that is the absolute best. Let's see. Chili Cheese becomes a new member. Look at this. Love you, Chili Cheese. That's the best way to end things today is Chili Cheese becoming a new member. Guys, thank you so much. I'm sorry that I have to end this a little bit early today because I do have some travel tonight. I still haven't even packed yet. I got to get the kids to soccer practice in just a little bit. So it's a chaotic day. For those of you that are members, just put out 3 brand new videos. The Saturday, Sunday videos, as well as a daily draft. So daily draft from Ross, an episode that looks at the remaining holes for Green Bay's roster and how they can fill them. And then what they should have done now that we know what all these free agents went for, what Green Bay should have done to make this offseason maybe a little bit more spectacular than maybe what some of you feel like it was, or could they have made it more spectacular? So those are out there. Sign up for those memberships, like, subscribe, comment, 5-star reviews, all that crap. I will see you guys all very soon. Can't thank you enough. Until next time. And as always, go Pack Go.